Okay, y'all, I cannot even believe I'm making this video right now. I just came off of my biggest month ever selling on Etsy. So last month we sold $70,000 in 30 days on my Etsy shop. So I sat down to figure out what things I thought contributed to the success, and I'm excited to share today with you guys the top 5 strategies that I think that helped take us to that next level. So if that sounds interesting to you and you think that could be a help to you, then just keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, friends. So glad you're here. If you're new here, I'm Kate. I'm a wife, mama to 3 awesome kiddos, and Etsy seller. I started on Etsy back in 2015 and now currently have 2 Etsy shops. The first one, which is in the top 1% of all Etsy shops. So I have this channel to help you guys with your Etsy strategy and to help you figure out ways that you can level up and become the best Etsy seller that you can be. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would love for you to do so. Just click that little subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your notifications as well by hitting the little bell so that you don't miss any of my new videos. Also, in addition to the 5 strategies that I'm going to share with you in this video, I'm also throwing in 2 additional pro tips at the end that I think will really help you. So make sure you watch the video all the way through to get those extra tips. And of course, we're going to dive into the analytics first. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's jump in. Okay, so if we go to my Etsy analytics, I have pulled up here November 1st through November 30th. This was of this year, that was last month. And you can see I had 47.5K visits, 557 orders, and my revenue was $70,783.96. So this was in 30 days, and the conversion rate shows 1.2%, but this revenue is what I want to talk about because we have never had a month like this until this last month. And I just want to give you guys some pointers on what I think helped us to get there. Before we go any further though, I really can't talk about our success without giving glory to the Lord because we have dedicated our business and everything that we do to Him. And so yes, there's a lot of hard work that has gone into this, but we do believe that every sale comes from Him, and even the strategies that we have used that we're going to share with you have come from Him as well. Okay, so let's hop into the first strategy. The first strategy is to choose a proven niche on Etsy. So what I mean by niche is your product category type. You want to choose a niche that is proven and profitable on Etsy. You don't want to choose a niche that either doesn't exist or is just super random and is probably never going to get discovered. You want to do a little bit of research when you're deciding on the type of products that you're selling to figure out what categories and what product niches on Etsy are doing well, what things are selling successfully, and what niches are really working on Etsy at the current time. You also want to choose a niche that encourages return customers. Research has shown that it's easier to get a return customer than it is a new customer. So you don't want to discount the importance of making your listings optimized for return customers. And there are 2 different product categories that I would suggest. The first one is to sell seasonal items, and the second one is to sell gifting items. If you're selling products that are seasonal, people will definitely come back season after season to buy something new if they loved what they bought from you in the first place. If you're selling gifting items, this is really great for holidays where people are shopping for gifts like Christmas or Mother's Day or Father's Day. So if you're selling items that are easily giftable, you'll definitely be optimizing for return customers. Okay, the second contributing factor here is to have a best-selling product. What does it take to have a best-selling product on Etsy, you may ask? Well, Etsy determines the best-selling products by putting a little icon that says bestseller. You may have seen it. It has a little ribbon and it's highlighted in yellow. And that is any listing that sells really regularly, really consistently, and is making a lot of sales and having a lot of success. So your goal with every listing you put up should be to have it become a bestseller. Now, obviously, not every listing is going to be a bestseller, but that should be your goal, and you should be doing everything you can in optimizing each listing for the potential of becoming a bestseller. When you have a bestseller, that's when you really gain traction and your shop can really take off. We've been on Etsy since 2015, and in the last 5 years, I would say we've had 4 or 5 bestseller products. A best-selling product is not only great for gaining lots of sales and lots of traction, but it's also great to use as a gateway listing. And what I mean by that is that it kind of serves as an open door for people who discover that listing first and then click through to see your shop and your other listings. So you may be wondering, what are some things that you can do to ensure that each listing has the potential of becoming a best-selling product. The first thing I would recommend is to base your product types not just on your own personal style, but really do some research into what things are currently selling really well, what styles, what trends are currently popular, and base your product decisions on what is currently popular and what is currently selling. Of course, you want to be true to yourself and true to your brand, but I attribute a lot of our success to being able to do trend research and figure out what people are wanting to buy at the current time. All right, strategy number 3 is to have momentum. When I think about momentum, I think this probably was the top contributing factor to our success this year. The fact that the best-selling product we had that sold a ton and got us that revenue was actually launched last year. So we launched it was a holiday seasonal type of item, and we launched it last November, and last year it actually did very well. It made a ton of sales, but it was nothing compared to the way it took off this year. And I can only contribute that to the fact that it was like laying a foundation. When we launched it last year, we were working on getting that listing's quality score as high as it could be through lots of favorites, lots of sales, and lots of good reviews. So I want to give you the illustration of Domino's because I think this really is a good picture of how momentum works. It takes a while to set up all of the dominoes piece by piece by piece, but when you finally have all of those dominoes in place and set up and you knock just one over, it's the momentum that carries it and all of them get knocked over. And so what these dominoes represent are favorites, sales, good reviews, building up that listing's quality score so that it's found higher up in the search on Etsy. And once the momentum starts, it's like a train. It doesn't stop and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. One extra thing I want to note here is to know the timing. I've talked about this in my previous Etsy videos, but I really think it's important to know and to harness the natural momentum that seasons and holidays give you, because you don't have to do any extra work for there to be lots more shoppers and lots more buyers on the platform naturally and organically for these seasons and holidays. So make sure to base your product launches around seasons and holidays as much as possible. All right, the fourth contributing factor is to price your items appropriately. What I mean by this is you don't want to have a price point that's too low or too high. It needs to be an appropriate price for the product that you're selling, and it needs to also ensure that you're going to end up with a healthy amount of profit after you take into account all of your supply costs, your expenses, your taxes, and your fees. Far too often, I see Etsy sellers pricing their products way too low, and I think it's because they're just desperate to get a few sales. But really what you have to think about is from the buyer's perspective, they're probably not going to be buying the product that is the lowest price because in their mind, it reflects poor quality. So a lot of times in a buyer's mind, the lowest price item is probably not good quality, and it's probably not going to make the sale. I don't think it's bad to start out with a competitive and even low price point, as long as you know that the long-term plan is to raise it to a healthier price point eventually so that you can be making more profit per sale. And moving on to strategy number 5, which is to offer customization options. Now by this, I don't mean that you have to offer a completely custom product. I just mean that the product you're offering will definitely sell more if the buyer feels like they have one or two small things that they could personalize and make their own. Think about it like offering them multiple choices. It's not like a fill in the blank where they get to just request whatever they want, but you give them a few choices like red, blue, purple, or black, or small, medium, large. You have the option on Etsy to do 2 drop-down menus where you can add options for the buyer. So I really highly suggest to think of a few things that you can make available for customization to the buyer so that they feel like they've had a part to play in making it exactly what they want. All right, I know y'all are ready for these 2 pro tips, so here's the first one. I highly suggest focusing on building social proof. What I mean by social proof is good reviews for your Etsy shop. This is proof to buyers that you are an established and professional shop who has made sales and whose previous buyers have been happy and satisfied with their purchase. Having as many 5-star positive reviews as possible helps in 2 main ways. The first way is that Etsy actually improves your community score based on how many positive and 5-star reviews you have. So the more you have, the higher community score your shop has, and therefore the higher your shop will be boosted in the Etsy search and found easier when shoppers are searching. The second way this helps is that when shoppers are considering buying your listing and they look at your shop and they see that you have a really good foundation of lots of 5-star positive reviews, they feel more comfortable, they know that you're professional, and they feel safe making the purchase. The second pro tip I have for you is to think about your photography style. Now, what I mean by this is not really photography basics. I'm assuming you already are doing the basics as far as having good lighting, having a good background, etc. But what I mean by photography style is that you want to make sure that the style of your photos is representing a clean, fresh, modern, trendy look. And so what I would do is research on Etsy a similar niche or similar products as to what you're offering and look at the results on the first couple of pages that come up when you do the Etsy search and notice what style those photographs are in. How are the items arranged in the photo? Are the labels showing? What kind of colors are used? What kind of vibe does it give out? What kind of feel does the photograph have? And gain inspiration for your own listing photos and try to mimic some of those good things that are working. Remember, buyers tend to buy on emotion, not always logic. So you want to think about what type of photography style would give off the emotion that this buyer and this shopper wants and will help them make the purchase. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was and you found value in it, will you give it a big thumbs up? That is a huge help to me. And also, if you want more Etsy tips and strategy, click on the card right here on the end screen and it'll take you to more videos just like this. We'll see you next time, friends.